It absolutely looks like the Islanders' first round pick in 2022 is in play and could very well be traded before the draft. So what are my thoughts on them moving it? Hit that subscribe button, do not miss a video. Also go to Twitter, follow at TLOMitch, that's me. Don't miss any breaking information about Islanders prospects I've yet to cover on the channel. A little bit of housekeeping. I have construction going on both sides of the house. There's a new home being built 2 doors down on the other side of the street with heavy trucks coming in and out. And the same thing going on immediately behind my house. There's a whole subdevelopment, 92 homes going in behind my home. More big trucks coming in and out. So you might hear some sounds that I'm not able to eliminate in post. Just a heads up that I might not be able to get rid of it. Now it really seems that the Islanders' first round pick is certainly in play. Of course, Lou Lamoriello hasn't come out and said, I'm going to be trading the Islanders' first round pick in 2022. That was a horrible accent. Oh my God. That was what, some sort of Boston and Austrian, right? Like it's like Mark Wahlberg meets Arnold Schwarzenegger together. That was absolutely horrible. If you're from Boston, I'm really sorry I butchered that. But either way, the words stand true. Like Lou Lamoriello has not come out and said, I will be trading my first round pick. But with what the Islanders are, we believe, looking to acquire, and with what they've got to make those acquisitions, the first round pick is certainly in play. So then what are my thoughts on trading that first round pick? Am I okay with that? And if so, why? Well, yes, I'm okay with trading that first round pick. I realize that the Islanders are still in their window, and to service that window, they need to be making some big trades, and making big trades means trading off some of their assets, some of their more valuable assets, and that's the 13th overall pick. I'm okay with it. Under one condition, and that's that they make a proper trade, a trade that brings in proper value. None of this 13th overall for Josh Anderson. I can't. Like, it's not that Josh Anderson isn't a good player, it's that he's not the right player for the Islanders. Trading your 13th overall pick for Josh Anderson is not proper valuation. It just really isn't. Again, nothing against Anderson per se. He's a fine NHLer, but the Islanders already have a number of better Josh Andersons. So trading something like a 13th overall pick for something like Josh Anderson that you already have makes no sense at all. So then what is proper valuation for a 13th overall pick? That's super subjective, right? What I think is proper value isn't what you think, isn't what Lou thinks, isn't what the other GM thinks. But I think looking at the last draft will give us a sense of where the market might very well be. Of course, the market changes, as it always does. But looking at the last year's draft, there were 3 trades made from 9th to 14th, or 3 picks traded away, I should say, from 9th to 14th. And if we look at that, we might be able to establish some sort of market value for what a 13th overall pick could return. The first pick traded away was Vancouver's first round pick that went to Arizona in the Oliver Ekman-Larsson trade. Here it is down below. OEL Connor Garland for Roussel, Beagle, Erickson, a first, second, and a 7th. A hell of a return for Arizona, but it's still the first round pick left. For OEL, who put up, 29 points last year, and Connor Garland, who put up 52. Now, it really seems that Connor Garland is the gem of this trade. Now, obviously, you can't really just say that it was Connor Garland for the first, but that's kind of where I'm heading towards right now, just to look at it that way. You got a 52-point player in Connor Garland for that 9th overall pick. Okay, that's okay, but even then for the Islanders, they've already got that. They've already got players who put up 52 points. They need more than that. And so right there and then you're like, that's just not enough for us. You can't send the 13th for someone like Connor Garland. You could, I guess, but that's not what the Islanders are looking for. The second one here is the Seth Jones trade going to Chicago, and as you can see down here, there are a lot of moving pieces, so it's hard to nail down. Seth Jones himself returns you this. But there are 2 first-round picks going back to Columbus for Jones. And so just there, and those are really good first-round picks we're talking about here. The 2021 first is 12th overall, and the 2022 first ended up being 6th overall. So, like, wow. You can negate some of the value there because, sure enough, Columbus gives up their 2021 first as well. But that was 31st or 32nd overall in 21. So they moved up 18 picks. So by giving up Jones and their first round pick, they move up 18 spots and they get the 6th overall pick. So a 13th overall here probably gets you something half of what Jones is. So let's say a 25-point defenseman, someone on the second pair. That's perfect. That's exactly what the Islanders are looking for. That's perfect. That's what it should get when I look at this trade. The third one here is Rasmus Ristolainen going to Philly. Philly gave up Robert Hägg, the 14th overall pick, and a second-round pick in 2023 for what they believe to be maybe not a offensive-minded number one defenseman, but at least a shutdown number one defenseman. So that's what they're getting. They're getting a top pair shutdown defenseman, they believed. We can debate on whether they got that or not. Actually, I don't think we could debate on it because we'll probably both agree they did not. But that's what they thought they were getting when they traded that 14th overall. And so when you think about the Islanders and the market now, okay, an NHL player, a 14th overall pick, and a second round pick 2 years from then should get you a top pair defenseman. Well, the Islanders don't need a top pair defenseman. They need a top four guy, someone to play on the second pair. So you bring that valuation down in terms of the player they're receiving. Can the 13th overall pick still get it done? Yeah, maybe they have to add a second round pick in 2 years from then, but they don't care. That's perfectly fine. They'll do that. So when you look at the market based off of just last year's trades in and around where the Islanders' first round pick is, what is proper valuation? A top four defenseman. They should be able to, in his prime, mind you, a prime top four defenseman. We're not talking about just any top four defenseman. We're talking about a defenseman in his prime. So a 13th overall pick and maybe a little bit more based on how good that top four defenseman is should get it done. And so that's perfect for the Islanders. That's exactly what they need, is a top four defenseman to sit behind Adam Pelech, Ryan Pulock, and to play with Noah Dobson. That's what they need, and a 13th overall pick should service that. So when it comes to trading that first round pick, if they're bringing back a top four defenseman and maybe they're not adding a whole lot more to it, that's perfect. I'm okay with that. But if it comes back to like 13th overall pick and maybe some other things for Josh Anderson, let's just say Josh Anderson is the main piece coming back, no thanks. I would much rather make that pick 1,000 times out of 1,000. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. And if you have already or are just about to do it, or you've done it just now, thank you, thank you, thank you.